So once again, welcome all for Advanced Excel Training Session 6. Good evening once again. So these are all the topics that is planned for today. So we are going to see 4 different set of concepts here. So we are going to discuss functions related to text and date and then time. And then we are going to see very important concept here, the function called as VLOOKUP and then a HLOOKUP. And another important topic here, something called as data validation. So these are all the main topics we are going to focus today majorly: text, date and the time, VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP and data validation, and another some set of scenarios, something called as watch window, commands and then error handling. So these are all the 9 different topics that is planned for today. I hope everyone practiced all the scenarios that we discussed till session 5, and I hope everyone is clear about the concept. So we'll start for the day, or anyone has yet to join? Since everybody is attending session from one common room, so anyone please confirm in a chat window that is everybody in. Shall we start a session? Fine. So we'll start for the day. Right. So let's start with the function that is related to a text first. So I just navigated to a sheet named as text functions. So we have close to 8 to 9 different scenarios that falls under a concept of text functions. Let's begin with the first function, something called as LEN, len function. So len function is all about throws length of a particular string. The string that we are going to use here is going to be the text named as Excel training. We are going to get what is the count of the length out of this particular string. So we all know that to begin with a formula or a function, we have to start with equal to len. And you can read the hint that returns the number of characters in a text string. Returns the number of characters in a text string. Press tab to activate this particular function, and you can is expecting only one input from a user, that is text. So the text is going to be Excel training here. Close the bracket and press tab to come out of a cell. So you can see that what is the length of this particular string is going to be 16. 16 is the length of a string. As we all know that if we keep increasing empty space in between, empty space also considered as a one of a length, one of a character. So you can see that I just press space key 2 times, so it is increased to a 18. So this way, using a length function, we can able to retrieve what is the length of a particular string. And the next function here is going to be the function named as trim. Function named as a trim. So it is asking for only one input. Let's select that input, close the bracket, press tab to come out of a cell. So what this particular function will do for us? removes extra spaces in a string to a single space in between. It means that how many spaces that is available in between a different text in a single string, it will remove all the extra spaces in between and throws only a string with only one space in between each text. So that is the use of using a trim function. So you can see that this particular string, this n number of spaces in between, and then is our 6, and then n number of spaces in between, and ends with a session. So you can see that this is our 6th session. All the empty spaces in between, whatever it is, that is trimmed and provided only one space in between. So that is the use of going for a trim function. And the next function is going to be the function named as upper. Here also it is asking for only one input. Let's select the corresponding text, close the bracket, press tab to come out of a cell. So here also, whatever the combination of a text you pass, it will throw only the uppercase characters. It will convert either it is the uppercase or a lowercase. It will convert everything and throws all the characters in a string into a uppercase. Similarly, the straight opposite function here, something called as a lower function. Here also it is asking for a only one input, that is going to be the text. Select the corresponding text, close the bracket, press tab to come out of a cell. It will convert a string case into a lowercase. If you pass it as uppercase or a combination of lowercase and uppercase, whatever it is, it will convert the string into a lowercase. So this is the use of using a lower function. And the next function here going to be function named as proper. Only one input. Provide the cell reference, close the bracket, press tab to come out of a cell. You can see that all the first characters in each text in a string is converted into a uppercase. Converts the first character of each text in a string into a uppercase. So that is the use of going for a proper function. And we are going to see the next three set of functions called as something called as a left function, and the next function is a right, and then a mid function. So we are going to see three different kinds of functions now. So before we start with the function, I will just tell you what is this particular scenario all about. So we have a set of employee code with us. We have a set of employee code with us, starting with the department name hyphen the code. Department name hyphen a code. So what we are going to do here, we are going to use the function named as the left to retrieve or to extract only the department name. For a first employee code, we are going to retrieve FIN allowed, and for a second employee code HRM. From a third employee code, we are going to fetch only MAK. So this is going to be the expected output. How we can achieve this? So we can able to achieve this with the function named as left. So far, whatever the function we discussed, it was asking for only one input, but it is asking for two inputs. One is a text, and then second one is a number of characters to be retrieved. text is going to be the employee code, comma, number of characters to be retrieved. See, we know that we are going to extract only the department name. So department, how many characters? F, one character, I is a second character, and N is the third character. So we have to retrieve 3 characters from my employee code. That is a text, comma, how many characters you want to retrieve from a left. From a left, I want to retrieve FIN, so it is going to be 3. Close the bracket, press tab to come out of a cell. So you can see that only the department name FIN is getting extracted. Select the entire range, press Ctrl D to copy paste the function below, and you can see that department name alone is getting extracted using a function called as a left. So it doesn't mean that we have to always use the left function only. We have the alternative way to extract only the department name. We discussed already that if you go to data command tab, under data tools command set, we have something called as text to columns, delimited. And what is the delimiter? We are going to extract only the department. So after a department, you can see that hyphen is common in all the cells in a range. So we are going to use hyphen as a delimiter. Hyphen is not available in this list, so we can go for others and you can provide a hyphen. You can see the data preview in a system, FIN and then 2001. It is separated. Next, we have to provide the destination where you want to split. Provide the corresponding destination here and then select as a text. And then click on a finish. You can see that employee code here it is getting splitted as FIN and then 2001 in a separate column. If you want to make it for a range, then you can select the entire range, go to text to columns, delimited with other is going to be hyphen. You can see the data preview. Click next and select the destination where you want to paste and select it as a text because it's a text. Finish. Now you can see that for all the cells in a range, the employee code is split into department and then code separately, right? So there is an alternative method that is also available to work with text related functions. So it is important to understand how text related function works. So that's why we are discussing the function called as the left here. You can replace the left function with the concept called as text to columns as well. Similarly, we have a next set of function here that is something called as a write function. The same employee code here also we are going to use, but here we are going to extract only the code, not the department here. So that is the difference. 2001, 3002, 4003. This is the code we are going to retrieve using a write function. So it is a straight opposite function to left. It is going to be the same text, comma, number of characters from a right hand side. From a right, how many characters we are going to retrieve? From a right, we are going to retrieve 4 characters. Close bracket, press tab to come out of a cell. So this one, we already discussed using a test two columns, how to extract the employee code in a separate column and how to extract the department name in a separate column. And here another function, something called as mid function. So before you use the mid function, I will just tell you the scenario here. Here also we are going to use employee code only as a range of a cell, but here you can check for the employee code difference. We are going to retrieve department name, but department name is not available at the right or nor it is available at the left. So it is available in the middle. So we are going to use a different function called as mid here. We are going to use function called as mid. We are going to extract FIN, HRM and then MAK. So that is the scenario here. Function called as mid. In right and left function, it's very clear that we have to start from a right or a left, but here we don't know at what position that department name is available. So we are going for a function called as a mid. It is a different function. Earlier we used only 2 inputs, but here it is asking for a 3 inputs. The first input text is going to be same only, comma, start number, from which number you want to extract. FIN, it is located at 5th position. EMP, 3, hyphen is 4 and F is in the 5th position. So start number is going to be 5. Comma, number of characters, comma, number of characters to be retrieved from 5th position. We have already given the start number as a 5. From the start number, how many characters you want to retrieve? From 5th position, I want to retrieve F is 1, I is 2, N is 3. So I want to retrieve from a 5th position, I want to retrieve only 3 characters. So provide the number of characters as 3. Close bracket, press tab to come out of a. So we came out of a cell now. Select the range, Control D will copy paste towards down. So this way we can able to use, based on our scenario, you can use a left or a right or a mid function. So you can replace mid function by concept of text to columns as well. Go to text to columns, delimited. Let's go by other hyphen. You can see that EMP as a separate column, FIN department names are in a separate column, and code is in a separate column. Text and the destination will provide here. Finish. And you can see that EMP, FIN and then 2001 are separated, splitted. One string is splitted into 3 different strings here in a separate column. So this way you can able to work with different text related functions, and we have another 3 more scenarios here. Find and search function. So these 2 functions are interrelated to each other. So I will first tell you what is a find function. Find function or a search function is used to find the position of a text. Is used to find the position of a text mentioned in a function. It is used to find the position. Here, this is the employee code we have in our hand. We are going to use this particular employee code as an input to find what is the position of F here. So what is the position of a F if we calculate manually? E1, M is going to be 2, P is going to be third position, hyphen is 4, and F is going to be 5. And we know that the position of F is going to be 5. How to retrieve the position 5 using a function? We can go for a function named as find. Find the text named as F, comma, within a text is going to be B45. And after that you can see the third input, start number, from which number you want to find this particular position F. I am going to start with the beginning, so no need to provide any number over here, and you can see that it is based on our scenario. We can use this because it is mentioned in a square bracket, so it is an optional input. Close the bracket, press tab to come out of a cell, and you can see that 5 is the output that is retrieved to the user, and 5 is the position, right? So if I change this F uppercase into a lowercase, what happens? If I change the case of a F from uppercase to a lowercase, you can see that we are getting a value error. We can get an output as a value error. The reason we are getting value as an error, because you can see what is the limitation with the find function. It is a case sensitive. It is a case sensitive function. So here F is in a uppercase. Here also we have to pass F as a uppercase. If you pass F as a lowercase, even though the particular text or a character is available, it is throwing value error because it is not equal. Uppercase F is not equal to lowercase f. So that's why we are getting a value error. So that's why we given a note here that this particular function is case sensitive. Here and the input string, everything should be in a same case. Otherwise you will get a value error. So we'll provide F. And next function is called as search function. Search function is very similar to a find function, but we can use search function to find the position of a particular string itself. We can able to find the position of a particular string itself, but here we use only for a character. Search function is for a particular string itself. So that is the difference. Find the text. Find the text, FIN, comma, second input, within a text. Within a text is this. Close the bracket, press tab. Output is 5 because EMP hyphen. It will take 4 questions and FIN is in a 5th position. So that's why we are getting 5 as the output. But you can see that here FIN is in a uppercase, but here FIN it is not in a uppercase. It is a combination of a uppercase and a lowercase. It means that this particular function is not a sensitive function. It is not a case sensitive function. So this is the difference between a find function with a search function. Find function is case sensitive, it is for a character, and search function is not a case sensitive, it is for a particular string position itself. So using the above scenario, whatever we discussed, we are going to solve this particular scenario here using a left function with a find function. So we have the employee code here. We have the employee code here, and we are going to retrieve the department name alone. But here, finance as a separate length of a string. HR is a separate length of a string. Marketing, finance, HR. So everything is a separate length. So let's start with the left function. Text, we know that, comma. How many characters we have to retrieve from here? It is not possible to pass a static value, because for a finance, it is very clear that FINANCE, it is going to be 7 characters. So we can pass 7. But when we copy paste this particular function below, for a HR, we cannot tell it is a 7 question, because it has only 2 characters. So it is not possible to pass the static values here. So I repeat, we cannot provide any static values as a number of characters. Okay, in this case, how to find number of characters? We discussed the find function. So what is the use of find function? If you provide what is the particular character, based on that it will throw you what is the position of a particular character. So after the department name, in all the cells in a range, you can see that hyphen is available. So hyphen is going to be the common character in all cells in a range. So if we find what is the position of a hyphen, then we can able to use that position as a number of characters. So let's use find function here. Find text. Which text we have to find now? We have to find hyphen. So we are going to find hyphen, comma, within a text. Within a text is going to be the employee code. Close the bracket. So this particular function is going to be now number of characters. So we are going to find what is the position of a hyphen. To understand this better, I will do it here. Find text is going to be hyphen, comma, within a text is going to be the employee code. So now we got that 8 as a position, right? So if we pass 8, here, you will get number of characters dynamically. But here the value is going to be 8. Because it throws the position of a hyphen. But we don't want the position of a hyphen, right? Because we want excluding this hyphen. So -1. Now you can see we'll replace this particular find function by 7. Similarly for a remaining cells in a range. Now you can see that we just found the position, till which position we have to retrieve. Using a hyphen, we just found what is going to be the number of characters we have to retrieve for each cells in a range. We just use this particular output of find function as a number of characters here. So this way we can able to use combination of more than one text function to get the desired output. Is this particular scenario clear to all? So we discussed so many functions that is related to a text, and please type yes in a chat window that if you are clear about this particular concept. So I am reading some queries over here. Can we use the find function to find from a range? No, it is not possible because you can see that find text comma within a text only. It is not a range. So we are very clear that wherever it is asked for a range or a array or a table, then only we can able to pass a range. Here it is mentioned as find a text within a text. It is not a range. So you cannot use range to find a particular value. Ahmed, did I answer to your question? Fine. We'll move to a next set of a function here, something related to a date. Something related to a date. So let's start with the first function here, that is called as text function. So we have the date with us. So we have a date with us. We are going to fetch what is the day. What is the day? Today is a Saturday. So we are going to format this particular date using a Excel function. We are going to retrieve what is the corresponding day. So function called as a text, the first input is going to be value, comma, format text is going to be 4Ds. So if I provide a 4D here, this particular format will fetch you what is the corresponding day. So I just given the format text as 4Ds. If I provide a 4Ds, it will throw what is the day. If I provide only 3Ds, instead of a Saturday, you can see SAT in a short form. Similarly, how to get month, comma, format of a text is going to be M. 4 times you have to provide a M. Close the bracket, come out of a cell, you can get that what is the corresponding month it is. So this way you can able to format a date into a day or a corresponding month. So this scenario will come back because we are not discussed so far how VLOOKUP function works. So once we are done with the VLOOKUP function, we'll come back and solve this particular scenario. And the function something called as a today. You can see that this particular function is not asking for any of the input. It is just call that particular function, open and close the bracket, that's it. Press tab, you can see that what is the today's date, what is the today's date, that will be displayed to the user. If we open this particular workbook tomorrow, then you can see that 12/11/2016 will be automatically retrieved here. So this is the use of going for a today function. So we know that control semicolon is the keyboard shortcut to get the current date, but this particular date is a static date. But if you use a function called as a today, whenever a date gets changes, automatically this particular function will also get refreshed with the current system date. Using this particular input, we are going to see three different scenarios here: day, month, and a year. So if you have a date with you, you want to retrieve what is the day. You can just provide the corresponding date, close bracket, and come out of a cell. You can see that the corresponding day that is retrieved and displayed to the user. Today's day is 10. Similarly, next function called as a month. From a date, it will extract what is the month, and the next function is going to be something called as year. Close the bracket, press tab, and you can see that what is the corresponding year. From a date, that will be retrieved to the user. So from a date we retrieved day, month, and a year, and straight opposite function here, something called as a date. If you know the year, provide the corresponding cell reference, comma, month, comma, day. Close the bracket, press tab. You can see that if you know the day, month, and the year that is available in a separate column, you can able to map what is the corresponding date. If you know the date, you can able to extract day, month, and the year. So it is a straight reciprocal way of doing the scenarios. From a date, we can able to extract this particular three inputs. From using these particular inputs, you can able to form a date. So I hope everyone is clear about the date related functions. Fine. So let's move to a next set of a function, something called as a time. As we saw function named as a today, we have another one function called as a now. Open and close bracket, press tab to come out of a cell. And you can see that what is the system date as well as with the time that is retrieved to the user, date with the corresponding time. So this now function also will get refreshed whenever time or a date gets changes. It will show you what is the system date and what is the current timing whenever this particular workbook is reopened or refreshed. From a date and a time, we are going to retrieve now what is the hour. So 20 is going to be the hour because it printed the date in a 24-hour time format. So we are getting hour as 20, and next function something called as minute. So minute will throw you what is the corresponding, and the function called as a second will throw you what is the corresponding second. And if we change this particular file format, type as AM or a PM and click OK. Correspondingly, it will throw you what is the output. And we can give a try, go to a custom. Right, so it means that even though if you change that file format, it won't get changed. It will throw you what is the corresponding hour in a 24 hours time format. So whatever it is, when you're working with a date or a time, you want to change and check how it works, you can go to a custom and you can check for the available types, and you can look for what is the corresponding sample output as well. Yes, so whatever that is available, you can make use of it with a silent error. So we have now our minute and a second with us. How to get the corresponding time? So we have our minute and a second with us. How to get the time? First, provide the hour and then provide the minute, and the third input is provide the second. You can get the time now. If you want to change this particular format of a time, just delete AM or a PM file format and click OK. Now you can see that it is getting formatted to a 24 hours time format. So this way you can able to play around with the time related functions. So I hope everyone is clear about text, date and time related functions. Fine. So let's move to a next set of a function, something called as VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP. So these particular two functions gains more importance in Excel, because when you are working with a multiple tables or a multiple set of records, when you try to get or a map data from a one table to another table, we will always use a VLOOKUP function. So before we go to that particular function, we'll discuss the scenario. So this is the table we have, that is a master table. From this particular master table, we are going to retrieve region name and the customer name. First, we'll see how to retrieve the region name alone. So what is common in between the two tables? First, we have to look into it. What is common in between the two tables? Transaction number is common in between the two tables. Transaction number is common in between the two tables. So we are going to use transaction number as a primary value. So we are going to retrieve what? Region name. For a transaction number 20, the corresponding region name is going to be West. We are going to retrieve the same. For a transaction number 40, the region name is going to be South. We are going to retrieve the same here. For a 60, it is West. For a 100, it's again going to be the West. So that is the output we are going to retrieve. So we understand the scenario, what we are going to retrieve. How to do that? We can able to retrieve and map a data from one table to another table using a VLOOKUP, provided one column should be common in between the two tables. That is, transaction number is common and both the tables. So let's start with the function VLOOKUP. What is VLOOKUP all about? VLOOKUP is all about vertical search and retrieve. So that's why it is named as VLOOKUP, vertical search and retrieve. What is lookup value? What is lookup value? As we discussed earlier, that the common column, the common values, that is common in between the two tables, is going to be the lookup value. So we know that transaction number is going to be the common column or a common values in between the two tables. So we are going to use lookup value as transaction number. The first value is 20, comma, one second. Comma, the next value is going to be the table array. So as we discussed earlier, whether it is a table array or a table or an array or a range, it's going to be the same. We are going to select more than one cell. From which table we are going to retrieve. So we know that from this particular master table, we are going to retrieve the data. This particular table is going to be same or constant for the entire cells in a range. So we are fixing it using a F4, comma, column index number. What is column index number? In the master table, transaction number is going to be column index number 1. Customer name is going to be column index number 2, and region is going to be column index number 3. Date of sales is column index number 4, and sales amount is column index number 5. So it is clear that we are going to retrieve what? Column index number, that is region column index number. So the index number is going to be 3, comma, range lookup, it is the fourth value. Range lookup, you want to retrieve approximate match or a exact match. In all the cases wherever we want to get the corresponding value, corresponding exact value, always go with the false, that is exact match. Select, press tab to activate that false, and close the bracket, press tab to come out of a cell. I will tell you where we will go for a range lookup, that is true or a approximate match in a next scenario. Select the range, Control D will copy paste the function towards the down. Similarly, we want to retrieve the customer name. Lookup value is going to be the same. The transaction number, comma, table array is going to be same. Press F4 to fix, comma, column index number. Column index number is going to be what? What is the column index number to get the customer name? What is the column index number for a customer name to be retrieved? Yes, it is 2. So provide 2, comma, I want only the exact match. I don't want any approximation. So select the exact match only. Press tab to activate, close the bracket, again press tab, Control D, select a range and then press Control D. You can see that now customer name are getting retrieved or a map using a transaction number. So I hope everyone is clear about this particular concept. You can see the hint also here. What is lookup value? What to search? I want to search for a transaction number. Table array, where to search? I want to search in this particular master table. Column index number of the column to retrieve. Yes. So first we retrieved region and then customer name. Lookup, either you want a exact or a approximate match. So the hint is also provided over here. It is for your reference. So everybody clear about this particular concept of VLOOKUP? Because this particular function gains more importance, so we are going to discuss two more scenarios out of this. Here, before we discuss another one scenario that falls under VLOOKUP approximate match, we'll see error handling in a function. How to handle errors in a Excel function. We'll use VLOOKUP as a function here. The transaction number is going to be lookup value, and then select the entire table, comma, column index number for a region. It is 3, comma, range lookup. I want only the exact match. Close the bracket, press tab to come out of a cell. Copy and paste the function towards below, and you can see that transaction number 40 and 130 is available. Transaction number 200 and 150. Just look into the master table. Transaction number 200 and 150 are not available. Transaction number 150 and 200. 150 and 200 are not available. So that's why you are getting not applicable. So it is very clear that the region name are not available for these particular transaction numbers in a master table. But even though we know what is the issue, it is not good to share the error message to the user. So we'll handle this using a function called as if error. So it is asking for two inputs. One is value and then value if error. So we'll provide the entire function as a value, because it is going to throw you what is the value, and then comma, what is the value if error. In case of error, display it to the user as region, unavailable. Close the bracket, press tab to come out of a cell. Now copy paste this particular function. You can see that wherever there is a error message, instead of showing the error message, you can see that corresponding text is displayed to the user, stating that region names are unavailable. So this way you can able to handle what is the error message. Correspondingly, we can provide some custom text. So instead of throwing an error, it will display you some text to the user. I hope the function called as if error is clear to all. First value, your corresponding function. Value if error, the corresponding text should be displayed in case of any error. So that is the case. So next we'll go to another two scenarios falls under a VLOOKUP. Here you can see that this is one table and this is a second table, and here we are going to map the discount. From this particular table we are going to get the discount. So we'll start with the function VLOOKUP. What is going to be the lookup value? Which column is common between the two tables? Which column is common in between the two tables? Exactly. Region is the common column in between the two tables. So the region value is going to be the lookup value, comma, table array. This is going to be the table array because from this particular table we are going to retrieve. Press F4 to fix, comma, what is the column index number? What is the column index number we are going to retrieve? What is the column index number? From which table we have to look for a column index number? Master table. From where we are going to retrieve? So we are going to retrieve what? Discount. So what is the column index number of discount? Exactly. It is 2. It is not 3, right? Because we should not look into this particular table because we have all the data that is going to be retrieved is available in this table. In this table, 2 is the column index number because discount is available there. 2, comma, exact match. Press tab. Close the. Again press tab. You can see that discount is mapped. Control D. And you can see that only the percentage of a discount is displayed. But what is the actual value we don't know. So what we can do, multiply your output with a sales amount. Multiply your output with a sales amount. You will get what is the corresponding discount. What is the corresponding discount value? I hope everyone is clear about this particular concept. We just multiplied your VLOOKUP output with a sales amount. So we'll get what is the discount value. So that will be displayed to the user. And the next function here that is going to be VLOOKUP with a approximate match. We have the sales amount here. Here, based on a sales amount, sales slab is provided. Based on a sales slab, here they provided what is the corresponding team name. Corresponding team name also mentioned over here. So we are going to use this particular sales slab to map what is the team name. Lookup value is sales amount because sales amount is common between the two tables. And the table array is going to be sales slab team range. F4 to fix, comma, column index number. I want to retrieve the team name. So 2 is going to be the column index number, comma, range lookup. I cannot go for an exact match in this particular case because I don't have the corresponding sales amount with the sales team exactly. I am provided with the intervals of a data. If data is falls between a 0 to 3,500, it is a small business team. Between 3,500 to 7,500, that is a medium business team. Greater than 7,500 is equal to a large business team. So I can go for a approximate match. Only if I am not provided with the exact values, you can go for a approximate match. Press tab. Control D will copy paste the function below and you can see what is the team name based on a sales amount that is displayed to the user. So only in this case you receive a intervals of a data, not a exact data. In that case you can go for a approximate match scenario. I hope everyone is clear about the different scenarios we discussed in a VLOOKUP. Since VLOOKUP gains more importance, we discussed 4 different scenarios. And the straight opposite function here, something called as a HLOOKUP. The only difference between a VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP is it will look for a horizontal search and then retrieve. VLOOKUP is for a vertical search and a right try. When the data are arranged in a row wise, you can go for a HLOOKUP. If it is arranged in a column wise like this, you can go for a VLOOKUP. So this is the difference. HLOOKUP, lookup value is your transaction number and the table array is going to be the entire table. Fix it, comma, row index number. Row index number is transaction number 1, customer name 2, region is 3. 3, comma, exact match. Close the bracket, press tab to come out of a cell. Select the entire range, Control or will copy paste the function towards the right. So this is way you can able to use HLOOKUP. So nothing is different. Only thing, data are arranged in a reciprocal way. That is, it is arranged in a row wise. Earlier it was arranged in a column wise. So that's why we are going for a HLOOKUP here. I hope everyone is clear about all the scenario discussed in a VLOOKUP and a HLOOKUP. So please confirm in a chat window if you are clear about this concept. Fine. So we have remaining scenarios over here. So before we discuss the remaining scenarios, we'll go for a short break. Shall we go for a short break? We'll go for a 5 minutes break. So as like regular, we'll go for a short 5 minutes break. Right? We'll meet in another 5 minutes. Sanjay, I'm seeing one query from you. So you are expecting some more exercises to practice, right? So here, as I told you earlier that you can look into that Ednex portal where you will be getting more recorded sessions as well as more exercises and more tutorials as well. So did you gone through that Ednex portal? Sanjay, anyone gone through the Ednex portal from your end for that exercise available? Okay, so you mean to say that you don't find any exercises? So I will speak to Manipal team. And did anyone check with Silpa regarding this? Because Silpa is going to coordinate. He is going to be the POC for this particular training. And Sanjay, could you please check with her? Yeah, please talk to her. Please talk to her asking for more of exercises. So definitely she will share the profiles to you all to give a try offline, because before you go for assessment, definitely you need practice. So when I send a mail to Shilpa today, I will include. Definitely, please. So I will just share my email ID here. Right. So you can use my email ID when you are sending a mail to Shilpa regarding it. Right. So even I will speak to Shilpa and I will coordinate with her to share some more of exercise files so that you can give a try offline. We will definitely work on it, and I will make sure that you will receive some workbook for a practice as early as possible. Fine. So before we go to a concept of a data validation, so we have one scenario left out here. When we discuss the date function, we discussed that there is one scenario that is false with the combination of a text function with a VLOOKUP. So we are done with the VLOOKUP function. Now we'll try to, solve this particular scenario. So this is the table which have in our hand with a day, corresponding day, and then with a what is the working hours and which day is going to be the holiday. So you can customize based on your need, and you can use the table as a master table. So based on that, I just provided some set of a date starting with today, and for 1 week we provided a date here. So we are going to map the working hours. VLOOKUP. So we told that the common column or a common value in between the two table is going to be the VLOOKUP value or a lookup value. So what is common here in between the two tables? What is common in between the two tables? So I'm getting a response as day is going to be the common in between the two tables. But if you're looking into this particular table, do you find any day available here? So how we can use day as a common column or a common value in between the two tables? So what is the workaround required here? So it is very clear that we cannot pass VLOOKUP value as a date. So it is not possible because we cannot compare a date with a day. It is not possible. So what is the workaround required here? Exactly. We need to get the day first. How to get the day from a date? Which function we have to use here to get the day from a date? Which function we have to use? Which function we have to use here to get the day from a date? We discussed, look into the previous scenario. Exactly. So we have to use the function named as a text function. Value is going to be the date, comma, format thing should be I want the day. So give it as a 4 days. Close the bracket. This particular function text will convert the date into a day, right? And then comma. It means that we are going to use the function named as a text as a lookup value here. So that is the difference. And what is the table array? This particular table named as VLOOKUP input. It is going to be the table array. Press F4 to fix, comma, column index number. The column index number is going to be, it is 1 or 2. What is the column index number? It is 2 because we are going to retrieve the second column in a VLOOKUP input. We are going to retrieve the working hours. So we have to provide 2, comma, approximate match or a exact match. I want only the exact working hours. So let's go with the exact match only. close the bracket. Press tab to come out of a cell. Select the range, Control D will copy paste to the entire cell in a range. So you can see that for a corresponding date, whether it is a holiday or a not. If it is a holiday, it will map holiday, and based on a day, it will map what is the corresponding working hours. So this way you can able to use the combination of a date function with a VLOOKUP. So this way we can use combination of more than one function to arrive at a one scenario output. So I hope everyone is clear about this particular concept. Using a text function with a VLOOKUP. So everything is going to be same. The only difference here is lookup value. So we are not passing the lookup value directly. For that, instead we are using a function named as a text to convert a date into a day, and then we are proceeding with our regular VLOOKUP inputs. So I hope everyone is clear about this particular concept. So I'm getting some queries over here. I will just look into it. Query from Isa stating that is it possible to get the number of working hours instead of the range. So can you please a little bit clear about this particular query, Isa, because it sounds it is not clear to this particular scenario. What is that scenario all about? What is the number of working hours? Number of working hours instead of a range. So what is that? Okay. So you mean to say that instead of these particular hours from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., how many hours we have to work? Like 4, 8, 0, or similarly whatever it is. You mean to say like this, if I am correct? Yes, it is possible, provided you have to form a table like this. You have to form a table like this, and your table should have like this. Sunday means 4 hours, Monday means 8 hours, Tuesday means 0 hours, Wednesday means 8 hours, like this. We have to form one column here, and we can use the same input, that is text value comma right as a lookup value, and table array, this time it is to be 3 columns. Press F4 comma the column index number. So column index number is going to be 3 comma exact match. Close the bracket. Right. So it's going to be how many hours? This side is clear to you now? Is it fine? Fine. So fine, answering to your question is that here we passed it as a string. If you want to make it as a hours, then you have to provide it in a separate column. 10 you have to pass like this. It should not be in a same cell. It should be in a separate cell. Like this, you have to pass what is the starter and what is the end hour. If you know the starter and end hour, just a simple subtract. Right? So just a simple subtract, you can able to get the output. Right? I hope I answered your question. Right? So if you have the value, that should be in a different column. If you do a you can able to get what is the exact working hours. It is 4 hours and here it is 8 hours, right? So if you know how to use arithmetic operators, we can able to calculate what is the exact working hours with business start time and the business end time. Fine. So we'll move to a new topic here, something called as data validation. So we are going to a new concept here, something called as a data validation. So in our previous sessions, we discussed about how to product a workbook or a worksheet, and then how to product only a particular range of a cell. So as part of template creation, we discussed about producing only a range or product only a particular sheet or a workbook discussed. So going one step further, we are going to restrict the user whatever the value they provide based on what is expected. Based on particular condition or a criteria, we are going to make a user to provide only that particular input to a cell. For that, we are going to use a concept called as a data validation. Just click on a data command tab. Under a data tools command set, you can see something called as a data validation. So let's begin with the first criteria here. It is for a transaction number. Let's say the transaction number should be, I will just provide the criteria over here. Criteria for a transaction number. Transaction number should be greater than 0 only all the time, because users can able to type transaction number as -1 or a -001, whatever it is, right? Excel will accept, but practically speaking, transaction number should not be negative. So we are going to restrict the user not to provide any negative values. So we are providing a criteria as transaction number should be greater than 0 only all the time. So select a range of a cell where you want to apply a data validation. Select a range, go to data command tab and then go to data tools command set, click on a data validation and select a data validation here. First, let's check one by one each tab. Settings. Allow what kind of a value. You want to allow any value or only the whole number, decimal or a list, whatever it is. Whatever it is here, transaction number should not be a decimal. So we are just making a criteria as per our business need. Transaction number should be a whole number and data should be greater than 0. Data is going to be greater than and that value should be minimum 0, that is greater than 0 should be there. Then only we are going to accept the transaction number and go to an input message. If you select show input message when a cell is selected, then it for what is the title and what is the input message. If you don't want to provide any input message to the user, you can uncheck. You can see that it is not active now. So for our learning, we'll check that and provide title as enter value greater than 0. Input message as should be greater than 0 always. Value. So you can provide the title as well as the input message to the user. So you can provide any message here, the same will be displayed to the user when they try to enter something into a cell. And you can see the next one is error alert. We'll provide a error message as transaction number should be greater than 0 always and title as invalid entry. So whatever, based on your choice, you can provide. And you can see there are 3 different types of styles that is available over here. The first one is stop and the second one is warning and the last one is information. So let's give a try for this particular 3 different styles and check how it works. So let's go with the style information. Click OK. If you go outside of a cell, you cannot see that particular input message. It will show to only a range that is selected by us. I just selected a transaction number, first cell in a range. You can see that the corresponding input title as well as the message is displayed to the user now. So it is mentioned as enter a value greater than 0 title as well as the corresponding message that is provided by a user. If I try to enter 1, it will accept. 10, it will accept. If I try to enter a 0, press enter. You can see that invalid entry. Invalid entry. Transaction number should be greater than 0 always. So it is not stopping us. It is just showing you one information stating that it is an invalid entry. That's it. But it is not stopping us. If I click OK, you can see that the corresponding value is accepted. If I provide -100, it will just show you some information dialog box stating that it is an invalid entry, but it is not stopping us to enter. We just enter some value. And go to data validation again and change this particular style into a warning and click OK. Now if we try to enter some negative value, click OK. You can see that the corresponding title and the corresponding message is displayed, but it is asking us, do you want to continue with this particular value? Yes or no. So earlier it is not asked for any yes or no. It is just shown some information to the user. That's it. It never stopped. But here you can see one additional checkpoint. Do you want to continue or no? By default, you can see no is selected because it is suggesting that you should not continue because it is an invalid entry. If I click no, you can see that it is not accepting the particular transaction number. It is asking us to edit. So if I provide again an invalid entry, again it will show you a warning message. If I click continue yes, then only it will accept the changes. So this is the difference between a warning with the information. And the next kind of a style that is available here is something called as a stop. Something called as a stop. Click OK. Now you can see that if I try to make some negative value, if I click on a enter, the moment when I click on a enter, you can see that there is no such a kind of option. Do you want to continue yes or no information message at all. It is just asking us to retry or you can cancel. If I click on a retry, it will ask us to edit. If I again try to enter some invalid data, again you can see do you retry or a cancel. Only two options. It means that I don't have any other choice over here. I have to cancel it because even if I go for a re-entry, I cannot make some invalid entry. So this is the difference between three different types of styles that is available. If I go with the information, it will just show to user that it is an invalid entry, but it won't stop you at any case. But if you go for a warning style, it will warn us. It is invalid entry. Do you want to continue with the invalid entry or not? But if you go for a stop, it won't provide you any second choice over here. It will directly restrict the user not to provide any other value. And you can see something called as circle invalid data. If I click on a circle invalid data, you can see that what are all the invalid cell values that is available in this particular range. So we given the criteria as it should be greater than 0, but we provided two negative values. So two negative values are circled and displayed to the user, stating that these particular two values are not matching or not falling within our criteria. If you save, that particular circle will be disappear. Or you can go and click on this particular command, clear validation circles. You can see that the particular validation will move off. And the second kind of a data validation here, it is customer name. So customer name is going to be always text. Text length should be greater than or equal to 2. So we are going to use one criteria here as text length should be greater than or equal to 2. If the customer name is just a one character, it won't allow. It is not practically what we are going to do. We just trying to understand how text related kind of validation can be done here. You can choose any of the length based on your choice. Go to settings and we'll go with the text length here. Text length should be greater than or equal to 2 and corresponding input message you can provide. Then or equal to 2 and you can provide the input message as well of your choice and go to error alert. We'll go with the stop. Click OK. Now you can see that the corresponding data validation is applied for a customer name. So I can able to enter the customer name as DHL here. It will accept. If I try to provide name as AB, it will accept. If I try to enter the customer name as just a C, if I enter, you can see that it is the stop message stating that length should be greater than or equal to 2. You can retry or cancel. So let's retry and provide some value. So this way you can able to restrict the text related data validation. And here the next kind of validation is going to be something called as list. You can see that we have some list of values in a range: south, north, west and east. So it means that we are going to restrict the user not to provide any other region name other than these 4 names. So we are going to restrict the user not to provide or enter or select any other region name apart from these particular 4 names. So I just selected the entire range. Go to data validation and click on a data validation. Go to settings. In a allow criteria, you can see something called as a list. Click on a source. Select a corresponding range, and if you want you can provide the input message and the error alert of your choice. So we given the source here. Click OK. The moment when you created a data validation for a list, you can see that some drop down will be activated. Click on a particular drop down and select the corresponding region of your choice. And doesn't mean that you have to select the region name from a drop down only. You can able to type the region name as well manually, but it should match exactly with the whatever the text that is available in a list. So either you can select or you can type manually. It will accept, but it should match with the extract string of what is available in a list. So this way we can able to create a data validation for a list so that users can able to enter any one of a value available. It doesn't mean that you have to pass every time from here only. Say for example, yes or no criteria we are going to create. So it doesn't mean that we have to pass yes or no here. So you can pass it in some Excel cell and you can provide the corresponding cell reference, or you can say that already for yes or no data validation available because we just created one column newly. You can remove the data validation, go to data validation and then you can see something called as clear all. If you click on a clear all and click OK, go to data validation, and you can check here. If two are interdependent. If I click OK, you can see that region as well as yes or no columns are getting selected. Right now you can see that data validation is removed for this particular column, yes or no. Go to data validation, go to a list. In a source, you can click on this particular button and you can select this particular range, or you can pass the values here itself by providing yes separated by a comma and then no. You can provide a comma and you can enter whatever the list you want to enter. So here you can able to enter the region names also. So anything is fine. So you can directly pass here, or you can able to get it from my Excel. So both the ways it will work fine. So let's go with yes or no here as a source and click OK. Now you can see that only two values, yes or no. We never retrieved this from a Excel. We just retrieved this from a list only. Right? This way you can able to pass the list values directly into a data validation criteria, or you can able to get it from a Excel. So anything is fine. And the next one is going to be the date related data validation. So there is one validation already applied. First we'll remove this. So the criteria is going to be date of a sale. So I want the date of a sale to be performed from January 1st to today's date. The reason why we are going to provide today's date, because we cannot do any sales for a previous year. So the start date is going to be the first date of this particular calendar year, and the end of a sale should be the today, because we cannot make any sales for a future date. I can able to provide the statically what is the today's date also, but if you open this particular workbook tomorrow, also this particular date end date will be 12/10 only, but tomorrow's date is 12/11. So if you pass statically, users cannot enter a date of a sale that they are performing from a tomorrow. So we have to pass this particular end date as a dynamic input, that is today. Whenever they open this particular workbook, the corresponding current date will be retrieved here, so that users can able to make that date of a sale performed between start of the year with the current date. Current date will keep increasing whenever you open a workbook next day. So we are going to use this particular criteria here. Between a date, between a start date and the end date, we are going to do a data validation. Go to data validation and make the allow criteria as a date, and we are going to use data between. What is the start date? You can provide this, and the end date as this. Click OK. So if I provide today's date, it will accept. If I provide a tomorrow's date, Even if I provide a tomorrow's date, it is getting accepted. Let's check what is the error here. Let's go back to a data validation. Let's provide the date here. Start with 2016 and end date is going to be today. So whenever you open a Excel, the current end date will be populated. Click OK. So now I will try to enter some future date. Right now you can see that the value you entered is invalid. Right, so it means that we restricted only with the current date, not with the future date. So if you provide any date that not falls under this particular calendar year, 1/1/2015, you can see that you cannot enter because you are entering a past date, that is previous calendar year. We'll provide some valid entry, it will accept. Right. So this way you can able to create a data validation for a date. And the last one here is going to be data validation for a sales amount. So we are going to make that sales should be. So again, here some data available here already. Let's remove this. Sales should be greater than 1000. So we are providing one benchmark here. If a sales is greater than 1000, then only we are going to consider that particular entry as a valid criteria. So whatever the sales that salesperson is doing less than 1000 value, that is not considered as a sales as per this particular template. So select a sales amount range, go to data validation and then click on a data validation again, and this time we'll go with a decimal because sales amount can be in a decimals as well. Let's go with greater than or equal to 1000. If the value is greater than or equal to 1000, then only we are going to consider. If I provide 2000, it will accept. 3000, accept. If I provide 500, it won't accept. So I'm providing some decimal values here. It will get accepted because we are not given it as a whole number, we given it as a decimals. Right. So we discussed how to do a data validation for a whole number, that is transaction number that is greater than 0, and how to do a data validation for a text using a text length greater than or equal to 2, and how to map the region name using a list as an input, or you can directly pass that list in a data validation dialog box itself, yes or no, and data validation for a date, and then data validation for a decimal values. And I hope everyone is clear about this particular concept of data validation. Please confirm it in the chat window. So we tried with 6 different scenarios in a data validation. So we have remaining 2 more scenarios here, something called as watch window. So we'll normally make it as a formula auditing. We'll see what kind of auditing we can do. So watch window falls under go to formulas, and you can see something called as formula auditing in Excel. So that command said something called as a formula auditing. So under that you can see a watch window, and we look into this particular commands as well. To understand this, we'll navigate to one of a scenario over here. We look up error handling. If I click on a watch window, you can see that one dialog box will be opened in a system in the name of watch window. So you can able to drag this particular watch window and you can place it below your tabs, or if you drag it within your worksheet area, you can see it as a separate dialog box, or you can place it here using a mouse over. You can place it here, or you can keep it in a system as well, right? So here you can see something called as add watch. The moment when you click on add watch, it will ask the which cell you want to monitor. So I want to monitor cell that is available in a time function, and I want to monitor what is the output of now function. Click on a button again, click on a OK. Now you can see that what is the corresponding workbook name, and within that what is the sheet name, and what is the name. We are not provided any of the name, so it is blank. And what is the corresponding cell address we selected, and then what is the corresponding cell value. So the value is going to be the current system time, and the formula that is available there is going to be now function. So all these will be displayed to the user. If I navigate to any of the worksheet in this workbook, also this particular watch window will be activated. Even if I go to file, if I open a new workbook, in a new workbook also you can see this particular watch window will be activated. So this watch window is not limited to a workbook. You can able to make this watch window active in all the opened or active workbooks in a particular Excel. If I open one new Excel itself, if I open one new workbook itself, here you cannot see that watch window is available. So it means that watch window is limited to only one Excel, but it will be active for all the workbooks and all the worksheets. So you can add any kind of cell values in a watch window. I want to monitor what is the value of this particular transaction number output. You can click on add. You can see all the details, formula as well as the value as well as the cell address with the corresponding sheet name with the workbook name. So this is the use of going for a watch window. So you are just going to monitor what is the value of a particular cell, and you are going to monitor what is the formula that is available there. And similarly, you can see something called as trace precedent, trace dependent, and remove arrows. We'll see how it works. Click on one of a function and click on a trace precedent. The moment when I click on a trace precedent, I will just close this watch window so that we can look into it clearly. See, you can see that the moment when I click on a trace precedent, you can see that this particular function is dependent on how many inputs and from where the inputs are coming. So this particular VLOOKUP function is dependent on a lookup value. So lookup value is your transaction number. So you can see the precedent, and you can see another one precedent from here, because we use this particular range. We use this particular range as a table array. So it is using two different inputs to provide the output. So this is the concept of a trace precedent, and we have another one concept called as a trace dependent. We'll remove the arrows first so that we can understand a trace dependent. Click on a trace dependent. You can see that this transaction number is used in how many places. It means that how many cells and what are all the cells that is dependent on this particular transaction number value it is. We use this particular transaction number in a VLOOKUP function to derive at the output. So that's why it is showing one dependent. You can click on a remove arrows to remove the arrows that is created. And you can see something called as show formulas. You can see something called as a show formulas. The moment when I click on a show formulas, you can see that what are the formulas that is available in this particular worksheet that will be activated and displayed to the user. You cannot see the value of a function or a formula. It will show you the formula to the user. The moment you click again show formulas, you can see that is not active. You can see only the values. And similarly, you can something called as a error checking. Or a trace error. So it means that there is no errors available here because we handled this. So to understand this, we'll do one scenario here without handling an error. So we have some set of values without handling an error. Now go and check on a error checking, and you can see that the corresponding value that has the error that will be selected, and you can see what is the error and what is the function name. If I click on a show calculation step, you can see one new dialog box open in a system stating that what is going to be the reference. If I click on evaluate, you can see what is the corresponding output. It is not applicable. If I restart, and you can see something called as a step in. What is the first value that is handled or evaluated? It is V22. The VLOOKUP value is evaluated, and post to that only the reference. So step out, evaluate, restart, and step in. You can play around with the evaluate, step in, and step out, and look into the formula and how to evaluate how it works. If I click on a next, you can see it will activate or select some other value that has a error, and you can look for what is the error and how to evaluate using that. I just clicked on a help on this error. So these are all the concept of formula auditing. It is good to understand when you are working with the Excel functions or a formula, and you can use all these particular options to understand how it works and what is available in a particular worksheet. So these are all concepts are very simple, but it is good to understand how it works in a Excel. And the last concept for the day is going to be something called as comments. Go to a review, and you can see something called as comments here, and you can see new comments, previous or next, show all comments. Let's see how it works. Select a cell where you want to insert a comment. Click on a new comment here. Now you can see that one comment is activated with who is going to be the author. I'm just providing some comment over here. If I come out of a cell you can see one red arrow that is available on a corresponding cell. If I just navigate on a cell, it will show you what is the corresponding command and who is the author for it. Similarly, you can select some other cell and you can insert a new command. And you can keep adding your command based on your choice. My command 3 it is. You can see something called as previous or a next. The moment when I click on a next, it is navigating to a next command, and again next. If I click on a previous, it will come to a previous command, again previous, come to the first command. And you see something called as edit command. If I click on edit command, you can type any other command of your choice. If you come out of a cell, that will be saved. You can see something called as delete. If you want to delete this particular command, you can click on this particular option called as a delete. So this way you can able to work with the command. So we discussed about how to add a new command, and then how to edit a command, and then discuss about how to delete a command and how to view or hide a command. You can see something here, show all commands. If I click on a show all commands, all the commands will be displayed to the user. If I again click on a show all commands, it will get hide. So these are all the concepts we can discuss and play around with the tab something named as a commands. So these are all the topics that is planned for today. Something called as a text, date and a time function, and VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP, and then data validation, and then watch window commands and error handling. So we are done with the today's scenarios. I hope everyone enjoyed this particular session. So we are done for the day, and as we discussed earlier, Sanjay, it is confirmed that we can cancel tomorrow's session, right? We can cancel it and we can make it on a Tuesday, right? So Tuesday when we are going to meet, so same time. So same time 7:30 to 9:30. Shall we make it Tuesday? Sanjay, are you there? Or anyone from your team, please confirm. Okay, fine, sure. So it is a communication to all, but I'm not confirming it from my end because I have to check with Silpa from Manipal team regarding this particular change. But as of now, okay, fine. Already sent a mail to Silpa, but fine. So I am not communicated anything from Silpa. Maybe you could have sent a mail now. So I will check with Silpa tomorrow morning business hours. Okay, fine. So I will check with her and I will confirm with her. I will make Shilpa to drop an email regarding the same for rescheduling it. So hopefully we'll meet next Tuesday, same timing 7:30 to 9:30 for our 7th session. That is going to be the last session for us, right? So I hope everyone enjoy this particular session. So give a try offline. I'm going to share this particular file to you all now. So have a nice day. Enjoy your day. We'll meet again next Tuesday. Thank you all. Bye for now.